Vladimir Guerrero Jr., well, I guess this is kind of partially related to that, and the Blue Jays were unable to reach a contract extension, and he will test free agency at the end of the season. So we'll see. My guess is based on that Juan Soto contract, he will get a lot of money. Not Juan Soto money, but he will get a lot of money.
He's such a hard player to figure out the contract for because he's not Juan Soto.
No.
He's not Bryce Harper or Manny Machado even. But I think if you were,
when he's
and they were too. I think they were 26 or 27 when they made their free agency. So like, I think if I were just handing out contracts, I would just give him the Bryce Harper contract from 4 years ago now, because he's not as good as Bryce Harper. He's the same age, but there's been some inflation, so I think that contract will work. But like, you figure he's probably looking for $400 million, and I don't know if he's worth that.
Yeah, the market hasn't been kind to first basemen in recent years, whether it's Pete Alonso or even you go back and look at the deal Freddie Freeman got. Yeah. Like, it's just, there are so few teams that need a first baseman at any given time, and it's not considered a premium defensive position. So Guerrero's capable of playing third base, which maybe helps. And just the fact he's so young probably helps. But I don't know. Because he's a first baseman, I think we might be underwhelmed by what he ends up getting.
Mike Trout is moving to right field. A combination of Joe Adell, Mickey Moniak, and Taylor Ward will man center field for the Angels. Does this affect your evaluation of Trout at all?
I think you can hope it keeps him healthy, but I don't actually buy that you're less likely to get hurt playing. Like, the one aspect that I guess I hadn't considered is like, the right fielder is going to back up fewer plays than the center fielder. So maybe it's a marginal difference in the amount of wear and tear it is, but I don't think it really changes it. The thing for me is just like, the Angels had to have known this conversation was coming, and they just didn't add a center fielder. Like, I'm sorry, Mickey Moniak's not an everyday player. Joe Adell, no. I really don't think he's a center fielder. I'm hoping he can handle it. I'm hoping he can, just because I'd rather see him out there than Mickey Moniak. But the Angels are just weird, man. I don't like.
Angels are the Angels.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yep. Ellie De La Cruz tweaked his batting stance in hopes that it will help him cut down on the strikeouts. He struck out 31% of the time last season. Corey Seager is not expected to face any restrictions during training camp. He had 2 sports hernia surgeries last year, with the second one coming in September. Jose Altuve's first spring game will be in left field. The Astros seem pretty set on getting Altuve playing time there, which will make him dual eligible for fantasy. At some point, he'll have second base and outfield eligibility. Got some good news for your boy Christian Yelich. He said there's no reason to think he won't be ready for opening day. Let's see him in some games and see how his body and his back reacts, of course. Frankie Montas has been diagnosed with a high-grade lat strain and will be shut down for 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe a last-round injury stash for those who have IL spots, if you're interested in doing that kind of thing. Kerry Carpenter could see more playing time against left-handed pitching this season. In his career, he has hit .202 with a .588 OPS against lefties. It could hurt the batting average, but if he plays every day or close to it, maybe it helps the counting sets for Kerry Carpenter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm skeptical it would help, but it probably comes out in the wash, I guess.
My whole case for Kerry Carpenter as a bust is that he's going to sit against every left-hander, so what can his runs and RBI look like?
Mm-hmm.
So if nothing else, this news has me rethinking that. I'm surprised, and I don't know that they'll stick with it necessarily, because he has been horrendous in his few opportunities against left-handers. And he's in his late 20s already, so I don't know how much improvement you can count on, but it is true that they're saying they're open to playing Kerry Carpenter against left-handers more.
Harrison Bader, who signed with the Twins last week, is expected to see a significant amount of playing time in left field, which is interesting because Trevor Larnach was supposed to be there, and then there's Matt Wallner in right field. So are you guys knocking either of those players, Larnach or Matt Wallner, with Harrison Bader there?
A significant is the word used, and there's not a lot of specificity with that word. Significant just means not insignificant, right? So I interpreted, and I think I was reading through some of the Twins beat writer material. That's how I got that note on Ty France. I was reading through that earlier today. And they expect Trevor Larnach and Matt Wallner to be in the corners most of the time. They're both left-handed hitters, and Bader Betts right-handed. So significant could mean he spells one or the other against lefties. But mainly he's there to back up Buxton in center, given Buxton's injury history. So I don't think it'll really affect Larnach or Wallner beyond what we were already expecting for their playing time.
Trey Turner could bat leadoff this season for the Phillies, with Kyle Schwarber sliding down to third or fourth in their lineup. Sean Murphy is expecting to rebound after the oblique injury last year. Quote, missing that much time at the beginning, that's not how I wanted to begin the season. I'm not sure my swing ever felt correct coming off the oblique. Not that I was in any pain or hurt. Some things just felt off, and I never caught up and found a way to adjust. So I think that's a pretty fair excuse for him. And as I've said, I like him as a catcher 2 target this season.
I mean, that was the theory for Sean Murphy sleeper, was that he was never right after that oblique injury. So it's encouraging to hear him say that he, it's not just us theorizing anymore. Murphy's backing it up.
Nationals manager Dave Martinez said earlier this week that lefty Jose Ferrer is a candidate for saves along with Jorge Lopez. They also signed Lucas Sims this week. So could he factor into the mix at all? I don't. Kind of feels like it's to avoid. I don't know.
Maybe, but I don't. Like the problem is, 1, Ferrer is a lefty. 2, it's not clear he's good.
Yeah, low strikeout rate.
Yeah, really low strikeout rate for the fact that he throws legitimately 101 miles per hour. So yeah, I don't know. Someone's going to be the closer there, and it's a situation where I would really hope not to speculate until we get some kind of concrete answer.
Tyler Kinley, Seth Halverson, and Victor Vodnik are all in the mix for Rockies saves, according to Patrick Saunders of the Denver Post. Alex Cora said Tristan Casas is expected to be an everyday player and play against both lefties and righties this season. David Bednar is expected to begin the season as the Pirates closer, as we expected. Jeffrey Springs had a full, healthy offseason and does not expect to have any workload limitations this season. And a few deep sleeper alerts here. Blue Jays prospect Alan Roden was singled out by GM Ross Atkins as somebody who could make a big impact this season. And MLB.com's Jonathan Mayo thinks Angels second base prospect Christian Moore has a really, really good chance to make the team's opening day roster.
Yeah. Alan Roden, for what it's worth, 100 on my top 100 prospects for this season. So I'm a fan.
Okay. I thought you were saying he was 100 years old.
And hits the ball really hard, has good fly ball and pull tendencies, good plate discipline, just does a lot of things we'd like to see from hitters these days. And I don't think he's going to make the team out of spring training. The Blue Jays have a lot of fringe lineup guys, way too many than they can actually find at bats for. So to include Roden in that mix would just be kind of be the straw that breaks the camel's back, I guess. But they're singling him out, and I could see him making an impact this year too. Moore might be more likely to make the team and is a prospect of greater upside overall than Roden, I would say. Lower floor too, but higher ceiling. And I don't know. The only thing is, where would Luis Rengifo play if Moore made the team? Because you feel like he deserves at bats based on what he did last year.
I think he's pretty much penciled in as the leadoff hitter, isn't he?
But I think he could play third base. They signed Yoan Moncada. Like, he doesn't really need at bats, I guess.
Right.
And
so it's the battle between Moncada and Moore, basically.
Maybe.
Well, I do wonder if maybe Rengifo could be part of the answer in center field. He hasn't played there very much, but he does have some experience in the outfield. He's certainly an athlete. So, maybe that's one potential answer to that question.
I missed this one earlier with the signings, but the Astros signed Brendan Rodgers to a minor league contract with an invitation to spring training. if Altuve does play left field a lot, like maybe they're going to actually do that. There is playing time available at second base. Any interest in deeper leagues in Brendan Rodgers?
I wish the second base options that the Astros had were interesting at all. And I don't think Brendan Rodgers is outside of Coors Field.
I took him in the reserve rounds of the AL only auction we just did the other day. So he didn't even get a bid on him. But I was interested in taking him in the reserve rounds of an AL only league. Yeah, because there is that possibility he gets most of the at-bats at second base, since it does sound like the Astros want Altuve.
Oh, yeah. He's
left field.
He's going to play there at least, they said, the first week of the spring training, and then they're going to see what it looks like after that. And
yeah,
I mean, the problem is it's not like the left field options are particularly interesting in Houston either. So
no, their outfield is bad.
They really don't have much to hope for in these ultras. So like I was excited to take him I was interested to take him in the reserve rounds of an AL only draft is about the faintest praise with which you can damn a player at this point.
Yeah, we're rooting for some peripheral Astros prospects to maybe land in their outfield. Shea Whitcomb and Zach DeZenzo. Let's see what those guys could do this spring.
On the subject of where Luis Rengifo bats for the Angels, Ron Washington did say a few days ago that he expects his top 3 hitters to be Jorge Soler, Mike Trout, and Taylor Ward in some order. So Rengifo, I presume he's an everyday player, but it doesn't sound like he'll be in the upper third of the lineup.
Some injuries from the week. Do any of these concern you as of now? James Wood was held out of outfield drills due to left quad tendonitis. Jesus Sanchez is recovering from right elbow inflammation. Clark Schmidt dealing with a cranky back. Tyler Fitzgerald day-to-day with a lower back injury. And Twins outfield prospect Emmanuel Rodriguez is delayed a week or two with a sprained left ankle.
I think it's too early to be too concerned about any of these, except for Schmidt, just because pitchers are always a little more concerning when they get derailed early in spring training than hitters, and the rest of these guys don't matter all that much anyway. The one thing, Scott, who's the other? Walker Jenkins. The Twins have 2 like top 10 prospects, and Walker Jenkins and Emmanuel Rodriguez. They're in similar spots in their career. It does sound like Walker Jenkins might be expected to move a little quicker this season, so any delay for Emmanuel Rodriguez might make that more likely, but that was something that I was reading from one of the Twins beat writers today.